So, as some of you know, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been pretty steeped in researching and writing and performing about Salome. Salome, for she of the John the Baptist beheading fame. So, this presentation reads her through a media ecological and Krasipskian models of pattern recognition. So, I hope you enjoy. Since first alluded to in the Jewish Apocrypha in 14 AD and in Mark and Matthew in the early 2nd century, slipping into her skin over the last 2,000 years, Sarah Bernhardt, Maud Allen, Mata Hari, Little Egypt, Ida Rubinstein, Alan Nazimova, and Colette, all in their own way, has subverted the passive and often unnamed child of Herod. From the spotlight of the elite opera stage, film, and modern dance to the dark back rooms of peep show addicts, vaudeville and burlesque, transgressive and subversive, Salome not only threatens the social order, but exposes how language, meaning, and symbology shift over time and becomes a formal effect, or in Lance Straight's terms, a pattern that directs. Understanding pattern recognition as a basic model for media ecological investigation, Salomania, or cycles of Salomization, emerge in conjunction with the zeitgeist, aesthetic and political and social orders of the day. Through semantic environments and space-time contingencies, she is restaged, as Krasipski might say, through the reinvention of tradition and history, and as kind of autopoietic system abstracts nutrients, growing subsystems, which over time reorient her story, her language, and her meaning. In Krasipskian terms, not only binding time, but binding high and low culture, the music hall and the circus, erotics and spirituality, exposing how one bleeds into the other, erupting as a palimpsestic web of both sacred and secular ecopoietic reference. One of the most symbolic markers of the myth is Salome's dance for her smarmy uncle's stepfather, Herod, historically presented as ballet. But even ballet, though seemingly the highest level of respectability in the dance world, is just thinly veiled S&M bondage gear, partially simulated, decorated, and disguised nudity. What are toe shoes but the highest stilettos with no heel? What are boned tutus, bodices, but skin-tight corsets and push-up bras? What are pink tights but warm naked legs? Titillatingly playing between these two semantic environments, the 2017 London Karasick Salomé Woman of Valor opera exposes the inexposable by interweaving media ecological discourse, French feminist theory, deconstruction and sacred Kabbalistic texts, post-colonial politics with the lexicon and rhythm of pop culture, klezmer, jazz, and Bhangra.
Just dance! Dance for me, Salomé, dance! For rhythm is a dancer, a private dancer, rain dancer, moon dancer, you are the dancing queen! Dance now! Salomé, come! Dancing in the night of the dancing flame, dancing on the ceiling in the dark. Just put on your red shoes and dance!
exposing how the story of Salomé does not belong to any lexicon, but hyperreferentially draws on and borrows from a range of intertextual periods, currents, environments, a constitutive element of material social practice, and a dancing manifestation of a McLuhan mosaic. Oh, Salomé. Salomé, oh, Salomé, no sweat, no way, no slouch, Salomé, lay swiftly, space, no shit, shake, compile, ma, Salomé, swirl, no Sally slam dunk, swing low, and ride, Sally, ride like a resale sail, oh, Sally, 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 be my girl, Sally, Mustang, Sally, hey, long ago, gone so long, tall Sally, salient, alias, oh, say Sally, downwind, down, rock her soul, so lay me down, Sally, and don't slow me down with your dolly, Sally, hey, dolly, some shuli, wood, Sally, say, Salomé, loudly, underlay, Salomé, holy, Salomé, me softly telling the cadence of aphoristic rings. And in any mosaic, as McLuhan would say, a hubbub of sensation, as much as what is revealed is concealed. And as per Václavic's, language cannot not communicate through both medium, message, map, territory. Salomé avails the veil and the veil unveiling language and meaning as an intertextilic web of abstraction. For a nun, to take the veil is to choose her calling of chastity and devotion to God. In Muslim culture, women's faces and bodies must be veiled in order to protect men from their distracting allure. In Judeo-Christian marriage, the white veil signifies virginity and innocence, and in mourning, the black veil covers the head and face in humility and modesty before the unveiled face of death. Even a naked woman conceals the hymen, which veils the womb, which veils the origin of life itself. Or in the case of contemporary political and monumental shade, the collusive conspiratorial veils of disinformation, concealing but penetrable, opaque, translucent, and diaphanous veils allow light, knowledge, meaning to be filtered through the threads, building liaison while implying truth, allowing for fantasy and mystery, unveiling how and where the truth lies. In a vexed nexus of infected lex where facts refracted as flax in flux, Salomé's dance is a profound tear in these veils of concealment. So whether it's John's veiling his love for Salomé, Oscar Wilde veiling his homosexuality, Maud Allen veiling her sordid family history, her beloved brother, a convicted pedophile necrophiliac, or Mata Hari veiling her lowly Dutch heritage and secret life as a German spy, veiling and unveiling value, voles, valor, voile, voici, voila, revoicing the voiceless epoch after epoch. Salomé signifies how language and meaning are literally and figuratively woven patterns, where, for example, a dance of 7 veils unveils 7 words in the first verse of Torah, 7 days, weeks, counting the Omer, sitting, Shiva, shaking, 7 directions in the world, visited by 7 guests in the Sukkah, 7 by 7 handbreaths and dance, 7 circles on Simchas Torah, as the bride circles the groom 7 times, bound to the Torah, 7 Noahide laws, knows, sees, spirits, stars, 7 years for the construction of the Mishkan in the desert and wind the tefillin 7 times, binding yourself to the law, 7 years of plagues of prayer, 7 cows and 7 stalks of grain, 7 levels of Torah Sphirot, 7 sparks of light for 7 female prophets. So screaming across eras and epochs, whereby in Krasipskian terms the present is augmented and transmitted to a future, through a past that repeats itself, increasingly arithmetically and advancing geometrically. And if, as Derrida points out, with continuous proliferation, mutation, and contamination, one can no longer count its offsprings or interests, its supplements or surplus values, infinitely divisible, porous, permeable, and indeterminate, Salomé's cyclic reappearance over time points to how identity itself remains a septenaural secret within a secret which only another secret can reveal. Whereas outlined in the sacred 13th century and Kabbalistic texts, the Sefer Yitzirah, the Book of Creation, and the Sefer HaBahir, the Book of Illumination, the world was created and comprised of white light on black light. Darkness is just a manifestation of light. Through light and darkness, the linking of modalized histories, references, cycles, and media environments, Salomé becomes both a semi-historical character and a cipher of recurrence gathered across historical boundaries. And the question is why? Yes, at its core, it's about a woman who gained liberation through irony and subversion, but maybe also it's because the story of Salomé signifies a virtual compendium of perversions, sadism, masochism, vampirism, incest, homosexuality, fetishism, and necrophilia. And if we really think about our love affair with language and meaning, it is marked by cycles of censorship and subversion, fetishism, vampirisms, and, with a shout out to McLuhan's tetrad, a little necrophilia. All to say, reading Salomé in this way, through the geopolitical hybridity and media ecological and general semantics, dynasties, economies of power, gender, inscribed as an inter-ethnic, multilingual complex of socio-historic cultures and codes, reminds us how language itself is always already a site of repetition and reinscription, phantomatic projection, introjection, infinitely simulacric and synectic of the very condition of iteration in the negotiation of cultural formation. Thank you.